So my family and I noticed something very interesting starting about July this year. The maple trees started turning like a, what would you call it? A claret red, a wine red, a burgundy red, really kind of a deep red that you don't normally see until towards the end of the color season of fall. And this started happening, maybe about early-ish July, maybe mid-July. And we certainly had a very unusual year this year where we had a blizzard that dumped 3 feet. I think it was specifically 29.5 inches on May 1st. And then we had a blizzard, and so that snow stayed for the first few weeks of May, which usually is our wonderful bug-free season to get outside. And then we had the blizzard, and we had 3 weeks of drought. No rain, literally no rain for 3 weeks, which is incredibly unusual here in the North Country. And then after that, there was no drought, and then we had really high temperatures, and then there were tons of bugs, just tons of bugs. Nobody up here like mowed their lawn for 6 weeks. Yeah, so we had blizzard, 3 feet of snow, nearly 3 feet of snow, 3 weeks of drought, all in May. Really a lot of heat in May too, hitting the 80-degree mark in May several times. And then we had tons of bugs, and then we had rain. And so this has been a very crazy year, and animals, plants have had a lot to deal with. But the trees, I think they didn't know what to do. Are we going for a drought? Are we going for heat? Are we going for, like a monsoon kind of year? So they got crazy. So what was interesting with this is, we were looking around, we were seeing this here, and we were seeing it as we went by on different places on the roads, all these maples turning this shade of red. And then one day we were out in these old growth maple forests, and somebody mentioned the fact that all the trees, did you notice how the trees are turning color already? And we're like, yeah, this is in August. We're like, yeah, we noticed the maples started turning red back in July. It's so crazy. And also we looked around where we were at. We looked around and none of the maples in the old growth forest were red. We noticed that with another old growth forest that was probably about 10 miles away, and was also very interesting, as I had just been reading about this in a book. He had some really fascinating insights into what might be going on. So in this old growth forest, you can see there's no red on the maple trees, on the maple leaves, not the young ones, not the old ones. And Willeben, the German forester I've been talking about, who wrote The Hidden Life of Trees, and also this other book whose name I have to look up, he says that trees learn. Trees will experiment if they don't know how to respond to a certain sort of climatic situation. Trees will try different things if they're faced with a situation they've not faced before. But what's interesting, even more, I shouldn't say more interesting, but what's also interesting is that trees will learn from each other. So a parent tree, or mother tree is what a lot of people are calling them, will pass along their lessons that they've learned in their life to their offspring through their genes, an epigenetic passing on of knowledge, which is incredibly interesting. But also, these underground mycorrhizal fungal networks in old growth forests help other trees adapt to strange, dramatic, and extreme climate conditions. So when we cut a forest, either clear cut or heavily selective cut, meaning not really, you leave a few trees standing and call it selective, we destroy those networks, we destroy all of those. So our old growth forests keep other trees alive, help other trees adapt by teaching them lessons one way or another that the older trees have learned throughout their decades and centuries. Old growth forests are the trees in there are centuries old. So the old trees teach the younger trees epigenetically through the underground fungal network how to adapt to extreme conditions. And I think that's what we're seeing possibly is an example here in the Upper Peninsula. Is the young maples, the Upper Peninsula has been heavily logged. We have a lot of second, third, even fourth growth forests up here, and once you kind of start cutting beyond that, your forests really get in trouble. And a lot of our forests have had their original fungal networks destroyed. A lot of our young forests don't have their elder trees around to help teach them And what I am seeing right now, just these 4 different woods that I'm talking about, the younger ones are not doing well, or at least they're kind of freaking out. They don't know what to do, and so they're turning red in July. But in the old growth forest, neither the young trees nor the old trees are changing their leaf colors. They're hanging in there. They're probably doing other things to adapt, or they might just be chilling, saying, don't worry. We know how to adjust to these different things, or they're helping each other out through that fungal network. There's all these different ways that old growth forests help the younger ones survive. And we destroy that old growth, we destroy that resiliency. And I just read that chapter, and learning that trees will actually learn and pass on that knowledge epigenetically or through fungal networks to each other to help each other survive, to help the forest survive. That's just amazing. And then to see a potential example of that happening right in my neck of the woods, as we go through this very odd, very strange summer here in the Upper Peninsula of weather extremes. Our old growth forests are adapting well, and our younger ones who lack those elder trees to learn from, they're kind of freaking out. All right, so some food for thought. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, so please leave them in the comments below, and we will talk to you next time. See you later.